Dr. Jekell and Mr. Hyde. Part 1. Story of the Door. Mr. Utterson was a quiet lawyer. He didn't smile much, but he was kind and honest. People trusted him. He was loyal and calm. He always tried to do the right thing. One of his closest friends was Dr. Henry Jekell. Dr. Jekell was rich, smart, and respected. Many people liked him. Every Sunday, Mr. Utterson walked with his cousin, Mr. Enfield. They enjoyed walking together, even in silence. They didn't talk much, but they liked each other's company. One day, they walked through a quiet street in London. The buildings were old but well kept. But one building looked different. It had a small, ugly door. The door looked dirty and broken. Mr. Enfield stopped and looked at the door. "That door reminds me of something strange," he said. He told Mr. Utterson a story. One night, he saw a man walking fast down that street. Suddenly, the man hit a little girl. She fell and started crying. The man didn't stop. He kept walking. People nearby stopped him. They were very angry. They made him pay money to the girl's family. The man took them to that same door. He went inside and came back with a check. The check was signed by a famous man. Everyone knew that man had a good reputation. Mr. Enfield said the man's name was Mr. Hyde. Mr. Utterson said nothing, but he looked serious. He had heard the name Hyde before. He had seen it in Dr. Jekell's will. The will said that if Dr. Jekell died or disappeared, all his money and property would go to Mr. Hyde. Mr. Utterson was surprised and worried. Why would a good man like Jekell trust someone like Hyde? He decided to learn more. He wanted to understand who Mr. Hyde really was, and why Jekell was connected to him. The strange door and the name Hyde stayed in his mind. Something about it felt wrong, and Mr. Utterson knew the story was just beginning. Chapter 2. Search for Mr. Hyde. That night Mr. Utterson could not sleep. He lay in bed thinking about Mr. Hyde. Who was this man? Why was his name in Dr. Jekell's will? Mr. Utterson felt worried. He thought Mr. Hyde was dangerous. Maybe Hyde was blackmailing Dr. Jekell. Maybe he knew something from Jekell's past. Mr. Utterson wanted to find the truth. The next day, he went to visit Dr. Lanyon. Dr. Lanyon was an old friend of Jekell's. He was cheerful and healthy. They had known each other since university. They sat in Dr. Lanyon's study. They drank tea and talked. Mr. Utterson asked about Mr. Hyde. Dr. Lanyon looked surprised. "I've never heard of Hyde," he said. "But Jekell has changed. He works alone now. He does strange experiments. I don't agree with them. They are not real science." Mr. Utterson left feeling more worried. That evening he went to the strange door. He waited and watched the building. Finally, a man appeared. He was small and pale. His eyes were sharp. His walk was quick and cold. Mr. Utterson stepped forward. "Mr. Hyde, I believe," he said. The man turned suddenly.
"Yes, that's my name. What do you want?"
"I'm a friend of Dr. Jekell," said Mr. Utterson. "I've heard about you." Hyde gave a strange little laugh.
"Really? Jekell never told me about you."
Then he opened the door and went inside. Mr. Utterson stood in the street. He felt shocked and disturbed. There was something wrong about Mr. Hyde. Something unnatural. It wasn't just his rude words. It wasn't just his face. There was something deeper. Something evil. Mr. Utterson tried to remember Hyde's face. But he could not. It was like a dream. The memory was already fading. He looked at the building again. It was part of Dr. Jekyl's house. That door was a back entrance. That meant Mr. Hyde had a key. He could come and go any time. Dr. Jekell had given him that power. Mr. Utterson went home. He opened a locked drawer. Inside was Dr. Jekyl's will. He read it again. It said, "If I die or disappear, everything goes to Edward Hyde." Mr. Utterson was shocked. He did not understand. Why would Jekell trust this man? Mr. Utterson made a decision. He would protect Dr. Jekell, even if Jekell didn't ask for help. "I will find the truth," he said. "I must stop Mr. Hyde." Chapter 3. Dr. Jekell was quite at ease. 2 weeks later, Dr. Jekell had a dinner party. Mr. Utterson was one of the guests. There were a few smart and friendly men there. Everyone laughed and enjoyed the evening. The air was warm with good food and polite conversation. After dinner, the guests left one by one. Only Mr. Utterson stayed behind. He felt nervous but calm. He needed to ask something important. Dr. Jekell looked happy and relaxed. He was a tall man with kind eyes and a soft voice. His smile made people feel comfortable. "Jekell," said Mr. Utterson, "I want to talk to you about your will." Jekell's smile faded a little. He stayed calm, but his eyes became serious. "You don't need to worry," he said. "I know you don't like it, but I have reasons." His voice was low, almost sad. Mr. Utterson looked into his friend's eyes. "You gave everything to a man named Hyde. Why?" His voice was full of concern. Dr. Jekell looked away, avoiding eye contact. There was a pause before he answered. "I can't explain now," he said softly. "But I trust him. I care about him." Utterson frowned. His chest felt tight. "I've met Hyde. He is not a good man. I fear he may hurt you." Jekell's smile became weak, like a mask. "I can handle him," he said. "You don't understand, but I'm safe." His voice was gentle, but not confident. Utterson took a deep breath. "If anything happens to you, he gets everything. That's dangerous." Dr. Jekell put his hand on Utterson's arm. His touch was warm, but there was tension in his fingers. "Please let this matter go," he said kindly. "I promise you I'm in control. Nothing bad will happen." Utterson looked down for a moment. He wanted to believe his friend, but doubt was in his heart. "All right," he said. "But if you ever need help, I'll be here." "Thank you," said Jekell. "That means a lot to me." His smile returned, but it didn't reach his eyes. They shook hands in silence. Then Utterson left, walking alone in the quiet street. The cold night wind touched his face. He still felt something was very wrong. Behind Jekell's kind face, a secret was waiting. Chapter 4. The Carew Murder Case. A year passed. London was quiet again. But one night everything changed. It was a foggy evening. The streets were dark and empty. The air was cold and still. A maid was sitting near her window. She liked watching people walk by. Suddenly she saw two men on the street. One was old and gentle. He had white hair and walked with a cane. The other was young and small. His face looked angry and cold. They spoke for a few moments. Then something terrible happened. The young man lost his temper. He lifted his cane. He hit the old man hard, again and again. The maid screamed, but no one came. She fainted from shock. Later the police found the body. The old man was dead. He was beaten badly. His body was broken and bruised. In his pocket was a letter. It was addressed to Dr. Henry Jekell. The police took the letter to Mr. Utterson. They also showed him a broken cane. Mr. Utterson recognized it. It belonged to Dr. Jekell. The dead man's name was Sir Danvers Carew. He was kind and important. Everyone respected him. Mr. Utterson felt sick. He already had a guess. He said quietly, "It must be Hyde." They went to Mr. Hyde's house. It was in a poor, dirty area. The street was dark and quiet. They knocked on the door. A woman answered. She looked nervous and afraid. They searched the house. It was small and messy. Drawers were open. Clothes were on the floor. They found the other half of the broken cane. There were ashes in the fireplace. It looked like someone burned papers. Mr. Hyde was gone. He had disappeared. No one knew where he went. Mr. Utterson looked around. The house felt cold and empty, like the man who lived there. He thought of Jekell. What did he know? Why was Hyde in his will? The murder shocked the whole city. People were afraid. And the name Hyde was now a name of terror. Chapter 5. Incident of the letter. The day after the murder, Mr. Utterson went to Dr. Jekell's house. The sky was grey. The air felt heavy. Utterson was nervous. He needed answers. Dr. Jekell was in his lab. He looked pale and tired. His hands were shaking slightly. "Jekell," said Utterson, "have you heard the news?" "Yes," said Jekell softly. "It's terrible." Utterson looked straight at him. "You know Hyde is the killer." Dr. Jekell turned away. His face was full of pain. "I will never see Hyde again," he said. "I promise you. He is gone." Utterson was surprised. "You mean he has left London?" he asked. "Yes," Jekell said. "He will not return. I am finished with him." His voice was firm, but his eyes looked sad. Utterson felt relieved, but something still felt wrong. "Did he tell you he was leaving?" asked Utterson. Jekell nodded slowly. "He left a letter for me." "I cannot show you the envelope," he added quickly. "There was no name or address." He gave the letter to Utterson. Utterson read it carefully. It was short and cold. Hyde said goodbye and promised he was gone forever. Utterson took the letter home. He showed it to his clerk, Mr. Guest. Mr. Guest was an expert in handwriting. Guest compared the letter to another note, a note written by Dr. Jekell himself. He looked up surprised. "These two were written by the same hand," he said. Utterson was shocked. He didn't speak. His heart sank. That meant something terrible. Dr. Jekell had written the letter from Hyde. Was he protecting Hyde? Was Hyde even real? Utterson locked the letter in his safe. He didn't tell anyone the truth. But deep inside he was afraid. Afraid for his friend. Afraid of the secret that was growing darker every day. Chapter 6. Remarkable Incident of Dr. Lanyon. Weeks passed. Mr. Hyde was still missing. London became calm again. Dr. Jekell seemed happier. He had guests again. He walked in the park. He smiled more often. Mr. Utterson felt hopeful. Maybe the dark days were over. But then something changed. Dr. Jekell stopped seeing friends. He stayed inside his house. He refused visitors. Utterson became worried. He went to see Dr. Lanyon. But Lanyon looked very ill. His face was pale. His hands shook. He looked much older. "I am very sick," said Lanyon. "I will not live long." Utterson asked, "What happened? Can I help?" Lanyon shook his head. "I don't want to speak of it," he said. "Don't mention Henry Jekell to me. Never again." Utterson was shocked. The two men had been friends for years. "Did you fight?" he asked gently. "I have seen things I cannot explain," said Lanyon. "My view of life has changed. I don't believe in Jekell's science anymore." Utterson left in silence. He felt cold inside. Everything was becoming strange again. He wrote a letter to Jekell. Jekell wrote back, but the note was short. It said only, "I must stay alone. Please understand." A few days later, Dr. Lanyon died. Utterson was very sad. But then he remembered something. Before dying, Lanyon had given him an envelope. It said, "To be opened only after the death or disappearance of Dr. Henry Jekell." Utterson locked the envelope in his safe. He didn't open it. But his heart was full of fear. Something terrible was coming. And the mystery of Hyde was not over yet. Chapter 7. Incident at the Window. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. The sky was grey, and the wind was cold. Mr. Utterson and Mr. Enfield were taking a walk. They passed Dr. Jekell's house. They stopped outside his back window. "Look," said Enfield. "That's Jekell at the window." Dr. Jekell was sitting alone. He looked pale and weak. His eyes were full of sadness. Utterson called out, "Jekell, how are you?" "I'm not well," Jekell said quietly. "I can't come outside. But I'm happy to see you both." "Come out and walk with us," said Utterson. "You'll feel better." Jekell shook his head slowly. "I wish I could," he said. "This will pass soon." Then suddenly something changed. A look of horror came to Jekell's face. His smile disappeared. His eyes filled with fear. He gave a loud, strange cry. Then he pulled back from the window. And the window shut quickly, by itself. Utterson and Enfield stood frozen. Their faces were pale. Their hearts were beating fast. They didn't speak. They turned and walked away in silence. "What was that?" Enfield whispered. Utterson said nothing. But deep inside he was filled with dread. Dr. Jekell was hiding something. And whatever it was getting worse. Chapter 8. The Last Night. It was a dark, windy night. The sky was full of clouds. The streets were empty and cold. Mr. Utterson sat by the fire. Suddenly there was a loud knock. It was Poole, Dr. Jekell's butler. Poole looked scared. His hands were shaking. His voice was urgent. "Mr. Utterson, come quickly," he said. "Something is wrong with Dr. Jekell." Utterson stood up at once. They hurried through the dark streets. The wind howled around them. At Jekell's house, all the servants were afraid. They whispered and looked at the floor. Poole led Utterson to the lab door. "He's locked inside," said Poole. "For days we've only heard his voice. It sounds different. It doesn't sound like Dr. Jekell." Utterson was shocked. "Why didn't you call me earlier?" "I wasn't sure," said Poole. "But now I believe something terrible has happened." Utterson knocked on the door. "Dr. Jekell, it's Utterson. Let me in." A strange voice answered. "You cannot come in." Utterson stepped back. "That is not Jekell's voice," he said quietly. "It's someone else." Poole whispered, "I saw the man once. He was short and he wore a mask. He ran from me." Utterson turned pale. "Do you think it was Hyde?" Poole nodded. "I'm sure of it." They made a decision. They would break down the door. Poole hit the door with an axe. Again and again. The wood cracked. The noise was loud. Finally the door broke open. They rushed inside. The room was quiet. A man lay on the floor. It was Mr. Hyde. He was dead. On the table was a letter for Utterson. There were also papers and a new will. Utterson read the note. It said, "Dear Utterson, if you find this body, know that I am gone. But you will understand everything. Please read the letter from Dr. Lanyon, and then read my full confession." Utterson looked down at the body. Hyde's face was full of pain. But Jekell was gone. What happened here? The truth was waiting in the letters. Chapter 9. Dr. Lanyon's Narrative. This chapter is a letter. It was written by Dr. Lanyon. He wrote it before he died. Mr. Utterson opened it after Jekell disappeared. Dr. Lanyon began, "Dear Utterson, I write this letter with a heavy heart. I saw something that changed my life. And now I will never be the same." One night, Lanyon received a strange letter. It was from Dr. Jekell. The letter said, "Lanyon, I need your help. Go to my house. My servant will give you a drawer from my lab. Inside you will find powders and a notebook." Jekell told him to take the drawer home. Then he must wait for a visitor at midnight. Lanyon was confused, but he did as asked. He went to Jekell's house. Poole gave him the drawer. It was heavy and full of strange items. Back home, Lanyon waited. At midnight there was a knock. A man stood at the door. He was small and nervous. His clothes were too big. His face was pale and strange. It was Mr. Hyde. "Do you have it?" Hyde asked quickly. "Yes," Lanyon said. He gave him the drawer. Hyde opened the bottles. He measured a powder. He mixed it with liquid. Then he turned to Lanyon. "Do you want to know the truth?" he asked. "Or shall I go away in silence?" Lanyon said, "Tell me everything." Hyde drank the liquid. His body shook. His face twisted. Then before Lanyon's eyes, Hyde changed. His body grew taller. His face became kind. It was Dr. Jekell. Lanyon was frozen. He could not believe it. What he saw destroyed his mind. He wrote, "I saw man change into another man. Science cannot explain this. It was like magic." I will never forget it. And I will never recover. That was the end of the letter. Now Utterson knew the terrible secret. Chapter 10. Henry Jekell's full statement of the case. This chapter is Dr. Jekell's confession. It is the truth in his own words. He wrote it before he disappeared. Dr. Jekell begins. I was born into a good family. I was smart, serious, and respected. But deep inside I had two sides. One part of me was kind and moral. The other part wanted freedom to do things that were wrong. I hid my darker side. I lived two lives. People only saw my good side. But I was tired of pretending. I wanted to separate the two. So I began my experiments. I found a drug that could change me. I created Edward Hyde. When I drank the potion, I became a new man. Smaller, younger, wilder, and free from guilt. Hyde did everything I could not. He was cruel, selfish, and full of hate. But he gave me joy. At first I controlled him. I chose when to become Hyde. But soon things changed. Hyde became stronger. He came out without the potion. He had a life of his own. One night he killed a man. That was never my plan. I felt horror and shame. I promised to stop. I destroyed the potion. But the desire came back. I made the drug again. Then it got worse. I needed more and more potion. And one day, it didn't work. I ran out of the special salt. I tried to make more, but the new salts didn't work. I knew the end was coming. I will disappear, either as Hyde forever or by ending my own life. I don't know who I'll be when you read this. But I know this. I was both Jekell and Hyde.